She got your croissant. No one got your croissant before ever.
Yeah,
That
don't
explains so
even.
much. You know.
Hey guys, Nina here,
Hey, and I'm Anya.
and welcome to our podcast. So today we'll finally be discussing Iron Flame. We've actually read it a while ago, so it's not like fresh in our memories, but we'll do our best to, summarize the most important thoughts that we have about the book and about its characters, right?
Yes, we're so great at doing things at the last minute. But we're gonna do great.
Of course we will. We've got this. Okay. So, general opinion of the book, Anya. What did you think?
Okay. Well, we all know my opinion about the first book, I believe. If not, then go and click and watch that podcast. But for the second one, I will say that my thoughts on it are more positive than they were on the first book. But I wouldn't say that this book is perfect or it changed my life or anything like that. It's just that the problems that I had with the first book were, some of them were fixed or some of them were improved, but then I had other problems. So, it's kind of the more I'm looking back, it didn't leave a strong impression on me, some books you're still thinking about them months later or years later. This one is I read it, I didn't hate it, but sometimes it's even better to have this very strong emotion, even if it's negative, than to leave it without an impression at all,
I understand that completely. I don't know, for me, I had a bit of a more positive opinion of the first book than Anya. I did kind of like it, but at the same time, I did think it was overhyped, and I also had a lot of problems with it. And with this one, I don't know, I think I liked it a little bit better, actually. But yeah, I also had a lot of problems with it, and I feel like the first part of the book was very slow for me, but then all of a sudden things started happening and I really started enjoying it after that. But at the beginning, for example, I would say, okay, now I'm gonna read 50 pages, I would read and then I would stop. But with a book that I really, really enjoy, I can't stop, I'll end up reading the entire book in a night. So yeah, it was kind of like that. Just like you said, it didn't really leave that big of an impression on me either, so yeah, but it wasn't bad. And I still like certain characters and I find them intriguing, so that's good.
Yeah, I mean, we did have things that we loved about the first book, so I'm sure that this won't be a completely negative podcast, so, we don't usually do this here.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so I like the fact that it started with, Violet being with her brother. They were just eating and talking and it was just so weird. So I really like that. But at the same time, I kind of missed a bigger reaction from Violet. I wanted for her to just tell him how wrong it was that he didn't try to contact them or something, to be a bit angrier or something. She was very understanding, too understanding maybe.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I feel the exact same way. I was reading it and I was just so are we just going to let slide the fact that you and your sister, both of you love your brother and he just made you believe that he was dead for God knows how many years, and now he is putting you in a position where you have to lie to your sister and lie to your mother, and also your dad literally died because he was so sad. But okay, let's just eat breakfast. And I was just are we just not acknowledging it? What's going on? So I was so happy when later in the book, Mira actually confronts Brennan and I think she slaps him in the face or something. It's
oh my gosh, yes.
So I was feeling thank God, at least someone is letting him know how it is,
I was so happy for that moment when Mira slapped that asshole. I was just thank you. This is what I needed. So I'm so glad that we got at least that from Mira, if not from Violet. But yeah, the fact that their dad died, that's so sad. The fact that he died because he was just so hurt, that just breaks my heart. And I mean, I don't know how you can feel at least a little bit resentful of that. But at the same time, of course, she was happy to get him back. They're reunited, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say that, like, I get it that he was a member of a revolution, so everything he was doing was, like, top secret, so I can't just, like, not acknowledge that part of it at all. So, like, of course, I understand that, you know, he had to keep something top secret. But then if you think of it, like, obviously he would know that his sisters would be on his side, right? So I feel like that even doesn't excuse the fact that he was hiding it for so long. Like, then it doesn't become anymore about, like, wanting to protect them or wanting to, like, protect the revolution, because, like, you know a clusterfuck is going to eventually happen. So, like, at this point, you're just, like, leaving, like, your family in the dark for no reason, and it's just like, ugh, I can't.
He could have easily made it happen, especially because Xaden is at the same school as Violet. Like, he could have somehow instructed him to covertly bring her to a certain spot, area, and they could meet up. And then once Violet knew, they could have done the same with Mira. Like, that could have been arranged. So, yeah, whatever. He's annoying. And you know what I found curious? When he explained that his friend, so-called friend, was hurt while he tried to save him, you know, Terran's previous rider. I mean, Violet wondered at that point if they were more than just friends, you know, if they were lovers. And I like that idea. I like the fact that, you know, he's gay or something, or bi. And also, then there's another little part. He says that he doesn't really know how he got rescued. He just knows that he woke up somewhere. I don't remember exactly where, but he was safe. Someone had to move him, you know, for him to get there. So I found that to be a bit curious, and actually I have a theory about this that I want to expose right now because I don't want to forget about it. So I actually think that this friend of his that saved him, his lover and Terran's previous rider, is actually alive. Well, not alive, but he's Venom, I think. That's why perhaps Terran also doesn't want to talk about him. Because if you think about it, I don't think Terran ever said that he is dead. But I just know that he said something along the lines, he is gone in every way that matters. Something like that. So that's very suspicious. When books don't specify that someone is dead, like their body was there and they saw it and they're buried forever, then you know that shit is sketchy, you know?
Yeah, that makes so much sense because, of course, like, you cannot believe that someone is dead for sure unless there's, like, a body on the page or on the screen. Like, then, like, some shit could be going down that you don't know about otherwise, yeah.
Exactly. So maybe that's why, you know, Terran chose Violet, because he kind of felt that she would never do that. You know, he was so sure of her character that she would never actually turn Venom. He probably felt really betrayed by that. And it would be so interesting if in one of the next books, Terran kind of faces his previous rider or something like that. That would be kind of interesting. He would probably burn the shit out of him, but still. Okay, so yeah, soon after that, they kind of had to return to the college. And I really loved their entrance, by the way, when they were like reading their names off of the list and they were like, you know, they're gone or whatever. But no, bitch, here we are. We're back. We're alive. You can't get rid of us that fast, okay, and that easy. So fuck you.
I love that trope. Yeah, like when it's someone's funeral or something, and someone just like returns like, surprise, bitch, I'm still here. I'm like, yes.
Exactly.
Just wait till the most dramatic moment that you can reveal it and then announce that you're here. Like, that's how you do it.
Exactly. I love those kinds of moments, and I can actually imagine it if it were a TV show or a movie, how amazing that would be. They would just come strolling in like total badasses. I would love that. Those moments are, maybe they're a little bit cliche, but I still love them. I don't care. So what did you think of Violet and Xaden's relationship, or just of Xaden? Let's skip to him a little bit for a second.
Okay, we're just diving in already into this.
Of course we are.
Okay.
Hello.
Okay, I'll get into everything that I think about this relationship and this character. Maybe I should just like put a disclaimer first or something so that you know, my house doesn't get swatted or anything, because I'm not a hater. I'm not a hater of Xaden. I don't think he's like an evil person or like a hateful person. I don't believe that. I actually do believe that he truly loves Violet. I just think that because of all the shit that he's been through and all the secrets he had to keep and just all the trauma of his life, he's at this point not the best at having a healthy relationship and not the best at expressing his feelings for someone in like a good and healthy way. And I also think that he is a little bit arrogant and a little bit full of himself and like a little bit knows that he can like manipulate to make things easier for himself. And that's like a trait that I do not enjoy personally in relationships and friendships. So in so many moments in this book, I was like, hated what was happening in the relationship. Was feeling so sad for Violet. And also like, I don't think Violet was perfect in every single way. Of course not. But this relationship was toxic. But I do think it was acknowledged as toxic, you know, it wasn't like super like romanticized and we weren't made to believe like everything is actually like great when it's not. But still, like I did get frustrated at Zayden a lot. I got sad for Violet a lot. I am happy that at the end they did seem to like have some actual conversations and resolve some stuff. But, you know, at many moments in this book, I was like, oh my god, I don't like this guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I kind of wasn't so strict when it comes to Zayden. You know why? In the previous episode, I actually said that I'm afraid that Zayden is gonna now turn into this Mr. Perfect. Because in the previous book, I had this feeling like he was constantly just pretending to be this bad, I mean, not a bad person, but just like a toxic person, you could say, in some ways. Like he was just pretending for the sake of us not knowing, the audience. And I was afraid that now that we do know, that he's gonna turn into Rysand. I mean, Rysand was never perfect, but in a way, you know, it's your choice, Farah, it's your choice, it's your choice. And I was afraid that that's gonna happen with Zayden because that's a bit boring to me. So I was actually really happy to see that, you know, he's imperfect. He still wants to keep his secrets. He kind of also, I mean, I'm not glad that he judged Violet for her keeping secrets. I thought that was hypocritical, but I'm happy that he was imperfect in that way. You know what I mean? Like from a character kind of point of view, I feel like he was such an interesting and complex character. And I really loved what happened at the end of the book. I mean, too bad for him, but this makes him just even more interesting and even more complex. And I can definitely say that I think he's my favorite character, you know? I just love those types of morally gray characters, and he's definitely morally gray. So I love that. But yes, you are right that their relationship was kind of toxic. And yeah, you know, that's the problem. But I kind of, again, I never really blamed him. I just kind of felt for him because of everything that he's gone through. Like losing his dad, and then he had to come into this war college. He had to get like this thick skin, had to become this badass person so no one could like stab him in the back, you know. And I really respect that, you know. I respect his strength. And at the same time, he still kind of cares for people. He still wants to help people. And I don't know, I really appreciate that about him. And also, I really loved this quote from him because I feel like it really describes him very well. I think he wrote this to Violet in a letter, and I just want to read it. Okay. In the years after my father died, I forgot what it felt like to be loved. Then I entered the quadrant and became the monster everyone needed me to be, and I never regretted it. But then you gave those words to me, and I remembered, and nearly lost you too. I'm striving to be better for you like I promised, but I need you to know that monster is still there, screaming to use every ruthless part of me to get your words back. And, you know, I know it kind of sounds, oh, a monster, but whatever, but this is just him. He has that bad part and he acknowledges it. You know, he doesn't pretend like he's this good, amazing person. Like he actually says, you know, there's this part of me inside that still is like that and it still feels those things, and you know, I'm not there yet, and I like that. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it would be a good solution for them to be apart for a while, for example, to, I don't know, take a break, to go on their own healing journeys, and once they're ready, to come back together. Maybe that would be kind of more healthy. But at the same time, you never know. Maybe they can kind of help each other feel. And I feel like Violet, she does kind of bring the best out of him. So I think he'll improve more and more with the books.
Yeah, okay. I don't know if I fully agree that Violet brings out the best in him. I definitely think that he loves her and wants to be better for her. So, actually, yeah, you might be right.
I mean, but that's just it, right? He wants to
Yeah.
be better for her, so that's
Yeah.
how she brings it out of him, right?
True. I mean, I don't like deny anything that you're saying. For me, it's just that, personally, I mean, sure, I don't want like all the characters in my book to be like super perfect and have never done anything wrong in their lives. Like, that's boring. Like, that's not interesting. I agree with that. I want characters to be complex. I want storylines to be complex. I want there to be like moral questions and all of that. So from this point of view, I am glad that he didn't just turn into like a cardboard cutout of like a perfect boyfriend. But on the other hand, if I like look at it from the point of view of what kind of people do I like, what kind of personality traits do I value in people, and how I would like to be treated, I'm like, Jesus fuck, I don't like this guy, And I do see him trying to get better, but there were also moments throughout this book where I didn't believe that he was trying. So, of course, it's hard when you've been, in those kind of positions and situations that Zayden was. You're not going to get better overnight. You're still going to have those sort of toxic traits. So, I guess, like, my thoughts on him will come together more the more books we get, to see how this relationship progresses and how this character progresses. Yeah, I'll probably have like more coherent thoughts on it when we see what kind of progression he has later.
I understand, yeah. I get that he doesn't have those qualities that I guess you would want to have in your like relationships and stuff. But that's just it. I feel like most people are like that. Most people like they can be good and bad at the same time, because if they had like tough experiences in life, it makes sense that can be seen in their personality too. But you have to decide, of course, for yourself if the positives, are bigger than the negatives, and if you can accept those negatives that come along with the positives. Like, for example, I don't know, I think of myself as a very honest person, but I don't know, when I was in high school and I wanted to go to a party, I would also try to manipulate my mom into letting go. You know what I mean? And I can still like try to manipulate someone to get sometimes what I want. And I know that sounds bad, but no one is perfect. We all have those bad and good things about ourselves, and to just write someone off because they might be, I don't know, a little bit, in the gray area, I don't think that way. But yeah, of course, everyone has to decide if like those negatives about that person are really affecting your life to that level that it just makes you worse. You know what I mean? And if it affects you in that way, of course, you have to just, kind of cut that relationship off and move on.
Yeah, I absolutely get this. I don't think that anyone around us is a perfect person, and we all fuck up and we all make mistakes, and we all like sometimes, I don't know, like try to turn things in our favor or lie about. Like, this is just like, we're human, like we all fuck up. And yeah, I also think that even if you can completely understand why a friend or a boyfriend or whoever like lied to you or manipulated you, even if you have this understanding like how it came to this moment, I still think you have the right to feel upset or feel like you don't want to be treated like that, or feel like even if you get why this happened, it's still like on this person to try to get better. And if they don't get better, then, you still have the right to either leave or talk it out or do something for yourself also, because like your mental health is important too, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's complex, all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, yeah, sometimes you have to be selfish, sadly. Okay, so once they got back, they also got introduced to Varnish. I forgot what his position was. He's not a general, he's like something lower, I think. Well, anyways, we got introduced to him and I hated his guts. I know how he was like this, I don't know, older version of Jack in a way, but he definitely did. Yeah, but he did feel like more of a serious threat. Like, he was a psycho for sure. But yeah, we'll get to that. I just remember that when he was just kind of threatening Violet, being annoying to her in front of Taryn, I just thought to myself, Taryn, why don't you just burn his ass? Like, you dragons are the superior species. Like, probably rules in their like realm that we still don't know, which I really hope we'll discover more in the next book. But still, like, could anyone really do anything to Taryn? I mean, seriously, he's the second strongest dragon. Like, who would give a shit? I don't know.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, at least he ended up later. Basically, the dragon of Varnish got killed.
I forgot his name,
like,
yeah. Was it Solus?
Yeah.
Solus? Something like that.
Probably. Oh my gosh. We had so many names in this book, like every dragon of everyone was named, but then you're supposed to just go along with it and remember that, so not all of us are that smart, Rebecca. Come on.
And it's just like, it's stated so, like, as a matter of fact, Solus was there too, and then you find out that he's his dragon, and for a second there, you're just like, who the fuck is Solus, Who is that? Did I hear that name before? Like, I don't remember. What the fuck?
I feel that for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and also, like, Taran was so funny in this book to me because he always just kept, like, commenting on Andarna, how she's adolescent. That was kind of cute and funny, and I never got tired of it, even though it did get a bit repetitive, but it was still so cute. I didn't get tired of it at all. And also, he was so, like, funny. Every time Violet was, like, in a situation, in danger or something, he was always like, I'm 2 minutes away, I'm 3 minutes away. And he never, like, he took his time, okay? And I was just like, where are you? Like, where do you go? I don't understand.
Important dragon shit, come on.
Exactly, like, I want to know more. I want to get, like, his perspective. And I just want to know what he does when he's not with Violet. Because seriously, man, like, your girl's in danger, she's dying. And you're God knows where. And like when they were in that last battle, also again, like she was fighting on the ground, I think with that badass Venom. And he was again like, I'm 1 minute away. And then like 50 pages later, I'm finally here. And I'm like, oh, come on. Okay, thank you. It was so weird.
He's taking his time. Maybe he just believes in Violet so much that he knows that he'll handle this shit. Like he can take his time and like his human will figure the shit out,
I mean, totally possible, but like in that situation, they were fighting like over like this territory, and that territory, it wasn't like entire state. It was like a little, you know what I mean? He could have gotten from one point to another very fast. So I don't know. I mean, it was just funny to me. I didn't understand what is going on.
I mean, he's still my favorite character, actually. Like, the dragons are the best parts of this book, and gladly just read from his point of view. He just seems like he's old, he's tired of everybody's shit, he knows that he's a bad bitch, and the narrative of that would just be so fun.
That's true. We need his point of view.
Yeah, no more of this teenage drama, even though they're all in their 20s. I want, like, 100-year-old dragon just looking at everyone and being like, oh my gosh, can they get their shit together? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's for sure. That would be fun, yeah. I love that he gives off the vibe that he is actually old. I love the fact, because sometimes in Fae books, for example, those Fae do not feel like they're 500 years old. They feel like 20. So I love that about him. You know what, I was also curious about Andarna for a while. She kind of grew and stuff, and they kind of had to hide her. And I was also like curious, well, will they hide her forever? I mean, eventually she'll have to show up. Violet will have to try to write her or something, and they'll realize that that's the small dragon that she had. So I was like, I mean, at the end it turned out all right, but yeah, if it didn't turn out like that, I was just, well, what would they do? It's kind of funny.
I mean, true. Like, this situation was just gonna treat it like we'll figure it out once we get to it. Like, we don't need to really think about that. So, but like, I didn't appreciate that, because it felt more like the writer was like, yeah, I don't know what to do here, so I'll just ignore it. Figure it out later.
I mean, this is the problem that I have with Rebecca's writing, because it feels like that a lot of the times. Like, she did not plan it well enough. So she's just kind of, making it up. It's so weird. So... I don't know. I can deal with loopholes, but sometimes they just get... I mean, if they're like this, it gets too much.
Well, I don't disagree. We know that I don't disagree with that. Well, I'm glad that at least in this book we got like a smidge more of world building and like a smidge more of like explanation or justification about like why is everything in this world as nonsensical as it is. But still, like, imagine how much better the series could be if she just, like, planned some shit and, made the stakes feel actually real. Because, like, the problem with those books is that, like, she wants to make dangerous situations, she wants us to feel like those characters are really like always like in danger, like something bad is going to happen. But for some reason, like she doesn't like pull it off, like because it's nonsensical, because it's when you like think through those threats, it's like no one who's like an experienced like general or whoever would actually like make choices like that. So it's, you know, the pupils dying for no reason. Like at least it was addressed in this book, like, you know, other characters from that other country were like, yeah, that's fucked up that you guys do that. But it's still fucked up that you do that, you know? And it's not, doesn't feel like a real stake, because it's just stupid. I'm not like on the edge of my seat because of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, same. It just, yeah, it feels so forced. Like, yeah, like you said, like she wants us really to feel like it's super dangerous and stuff, but because because it doesn't make sense, it can't feel like that, because it still has to be logical. Like, this is a fictional world, but still sending people to their deaths even though you have enough soldiers, that does not make sense in any world. I'm so sorry. And at least, yeah, we got that kind of reaction from the other group of people. I love the fact that they explained to them that they have to jump and land on their griffins. And Violet was like, oh, and if you don't land, like, what, you die? And they're like, no, you land in the water and you swim to the shore. And I'm like,
yeah,
exactly.
What the fuck kind of question is that?
And then they're like, yeah, and then they're like, and then if we like, we don't get the Griffin, we join the infantry or, you know, another position. And I was, well, yes, exactly. Thank you so much. So it seems that Rebecca, she kind of saw our little comments and she realized that, yeah, that was so stupid. It's still, she couldn't explain it because there is no explanation, but at least she kind of laughed it off in a way. And I appreciated that at least.
Yeah, exactly. Like at times I was just like wondering how this country is still standing, you know. They have been at war for like hundreds and hundreds of years. And like I remember there was like one moment that said like some outposts or like just like start like fighting each other or like being competitive with each other. And I'm like, how are you still, like, who is running this? Like, how is the organization so abysmal that you're just like, I don't know, the soldiers are just like bickering with each other. Like that's like not how countries that like can withstand hundreds and hundreds of years of war like behave. You're right. So I'm just wish
their
things made
organization,
sense.
Their strategy is like it doesn't exist. I would run this country better. Like I studied international relations. I could totally do this shit. It's like, I don't know. And then you have like that situation that I also find kind of ridiculous when they had to work with the infantry guys. You know, they were like lots and stuff.
Yeah.
And the infantry, they did not like know anything about dragons. They don't know how to approach them. They don't know how to behave when they're around them. It doesn't make sense because you'll have to eventually work with them. You'll never have to ride the dragon, but you'll still have to be present, right, when they're there. So it just doesn't make sense that they don't know anything, even in theory. Nothing, zero. I'm like, how is this army working? Like you said, how is anyone even alive? I don't get it.
Truly, yeah. Like if we think about any like college like on our planet Earth, like even if you know, train to be a dentist, like the first thing you learn is like about the whole human body. Like you get like first like basic knowledge of all of medicine and then you like learn about teeth, you know? So like why isn't it like the same way here where everyone gets like a basic like 101 on dragons, everyone gets a basic 101 on like first aid, for example, or like how like the infantry is organized, you know, how to like, I don't know, whatever the librarians are doing, like just like basics of everything. Like that's just like how it goes in education and like, you know, so what?
in any world, like you have to understand the basics of everything and then you specialize in that one area. It's just how it is. I'm like, I don't know what to say. Let's move on because I'm just, I'm gonna get angry. And then like also, now that we've just talked about them being in the woods, there was also like the professor, he kind of gave them something to drink and Violet's thought processes and something bitterly floral that I can't quite place. The skin cringing in the aftertaste. Professor Grady really needs to take better care of his skins. And I'm like, girl, come on, you have already drunk stuff that were not good for you, that were poisonous. I mean, can't you just think that maybe they're trying to do something to like, I don't know, maybe get you a bit tipsy, you know, just think. She's like, he doesn't take care of the good of his kids, like he doesn't clean them well enough. Like that's her thought.
Even that is like, ew. Like, even if that's your thought, like I wouldn't be drinking of like a dirty ass water ski. Like I would just be like, fuck no, even if I don't think it's poisonous. But even so, like, Violet is like our queen of poisoning, you know? Like, if anyone should have figured it out, it's her. She was doing it throughout the whole last book, you know?
Yeah, I forgot to mention that little fact. Exactly. That was just another, oh my gosh. Okay, but you know what I did kind of like? I like the fact that Violet was finally doing some research. She was going behind Xaden's back to figure stuff out. I was, you know, really afraid that when Xaden told her to just leave it, that she's actually gonna leave it. And we would just get like more and more of her training sessions and I don't know what. So I'm super happy that she did that and that she kind of collaborated with her friend from the library, the scribe. That was really cute. I like their relationship. And it was so cute when her friend, I forgot his name, I'm so awful, but he kind of had a little bit of a crush on the scribe, and that was also nice to see.
True, yeah. I don't know. I saw a TikTok. I don't know if this will be in the episode, but I saw like a reel on Instagram where, you know, one dude was like, in the beginning of each book, we find out that this is like transcribed by Jacinia and like translated by Jacinia, right? Which means that every single spicy scene that's happening between her bestie and her boyfriend, she's like writing it down and translating. And I was just like, damn. I mean, that's important for the history, you know? Like, you cannot leave out those details in a historical document.
Oh my god, I saw that too about Jacinia, but I didn't understand it as her writing like the book. I understood it as, you know, those little parts at the beginning of the book, those short little segments. I thought that was what she was, you know, translating. Or
no, I think it's like the entirety of the books. Like those are like historical, you know, recaps of important events, and then you just have like some interesting historical events that need to be documented.
That Violet and Xaden shower scene is super historical and we need it. By the way, now that I've just mentioned this shower scene, I really liked it because, you know, she got there, she was super worried about Xaden, and also she kind of had tear on her head, so she couldn't really think straight. And I loved how Xaden, he just like grabbed her, he, you know, took her in his arms and he like carried her to the shower. And I just love the fact that it was like no questions asked. You know, that's what I love about the relationship. He literally just knows what to do. He just took her there, you know, he poured the cold water over her, her head got cleared, and it was a really great scene that he just did it, no questions asked.
Honestly, I don't remember this scene at all.
Oh.
My brain is empty.
I remember it because it was hot, so of course I'll remember it. Like, hot scenes are my jam.
Yeah. Like, I'm definitely not a hater, you know, I read romance novels, I like a good romance, I like a spicy scene if they're written well, like, I'll have no complaints. But I don't know, maybe it was just, like, my personal thoughts on their relationship and how I did feel like it was more toxic than not toxic, but, like, I was not, like, living for the spicy moments, you know? It's like, okay, like, it's happening.
Okay. You know that healer, Amender, Amender, and he ended up betraying her. And there was, like, this moment when he told her, and I suppose I could use some rest. It's hard work mending a soul. Been at it for months now. And, you know, she noticed how tired he looked. Her bestie, she told her, you know, that some weird shit is going on in the healing quadrant or something like that. Yes. And I just knew immediately, oh my gosh, they captured a venom and they're trying to heal him so that he changes back into a human. That was my initial thought. Yeah. And it turned out that I was right, but I had no idea it was fucking Jack.
Oh my gosh, that whole thing, no, I did not expect that at all. I don't know, but that's why I actually like this book better than the first one. Like, there were actually, like, some plot twists that I did not, like, guess, like, 3 billion years before Violet. No, this was actually, like, a super surprising part for me. The fact that he even poisoned her, I didn't see that coming, and that was, like, after, like, the heist, and I was fucking waiting for a heist. I was waiting for an investigation. So that was like my favorite part of the book for me, and everything that came after that too. It's exactly what I wanted. Violet being smart, Violet being strategic, like everyone working together to like actually like work on solving this shit. Oh my gosh. So that was like such a great part of the book for me.
All I know is that when Jack walked into that classroom, I just immediately Googled, is Jack really alive? Like, I was like, this is probably some kind of a joke. She's probably having a nightmare. You know, she's dreaming or something. Like, this can't be real. Because I feel like his send-off in the first book was actually pretty good. You know, I feel like he got what he deserved. I think it was dramatic. I think it was the first time that she killed someone, the first time that she used her powers. You know, it was a really good moment, and yet, you know, here he is back at it. I'm just, oh my god. But yeah, I did not like expect at all that he was Venom. That surprised me.
Yeah.
And I loved the plot twist. But, you know, I did kind of expect the poisoning. As soon as he got, like, the glasses and he just... What did he offer her? Was it not wine? Something like just a beverage. I don't know what it was. But I was like, that's kind of weird. You know, isn't it in the middle of the night and he's just, like, offering you something to drink? That's suspicious, okay? But I understand that this is the person that, like, he's been mending her his entire life. Like, she really trusted him. So that's super sad for her.
Oh my gosh, that's such a betrayal, honestly. Like, she thought he was a good guy, and then, like, this happened. So that was sad. And yeah, you're actually correct about Jack. Like, I feel like he got a good ending in book one. Well, not good, but, like, a satisfactory ending in book one. Yeah, I didn't, like, really feel anything about... Like, I was, like shocked, but like not in a good way. I was just like, oh, we're actually doing this. Like, this asshole, like, he's back from the dead of all people. You know, I was like, ugh, whatever. Like, I wasn't like a fan of this plotting happening either.
I know. I was neither. Yeah. It was annoying. And also, you know what I thought to myself? I was like, but Jack didn't even graduate. Like, how is he her classmate? Shouldn't he be like first year again or something? I don't get it.
Actually, yeah. Don't you have to, like, repeat your class if you, like, fail? And he, like, super failed. He barely made it out alive. Like,
he didn't. He actually died. So, insane. I don't...
Gosh.
Whatever.
And also... Rhiannon was the one who was having these suspicions about, like, the mentor and everything. And, like, she was trying to tell that to Violet. And Violet was, like... sort of like half dismissive of like
so
her
stupid
theories, and have like, oh, I have to like not tell anything to Rhiannon to protect her. And oh god, like, I just, the part of this book that I hated the most was this notion that everyone had that, like, I have to, like, keep secrets to protect everybody. Oh god, like, that, like, frustrates me in books so much. Like, I will read a quote right now that is not from this book. It's from Hoyt, from Brandon Sanderson book, because, like, the second I ran into this quote, like, weeks after reading Iron Flame, I was like, some people need to hear this, alright? And that is, being told, I kept you in the dark to protect you, is not only frustrating, but condescending as well. It's a truly economical way to demean someone. And that's so fucking true. And I did not appreciate all of those moments in the book where this was happening.
Yeah, I know. And I love the fact that Sanderson points that out. You read this to me in our yearly wrap-up episode, and I love that. And I couldn't agree more, and I was also super annoyed. And what I hate about Violet is also that she just dismisses so many things. In the first book, you were really annoyed by that. I wasn't that annoyed, but in this book, I was. You know, just like, oh, that, what Rhiannon's telling me, that is weird. And then, like, moving on to the next topic. And I'm like, anyway, what? Her brain freezes or something. I don't get it.
Honestly, and she's like the genius. Yeah, I mean, okay, in this book, I feel like she was smarter than in the first one, so I feel like the genius, whatever status, was a bit more warranted, but definitely there were still moments where she was like, that's suspicious, that's weird, and I'll just move right along and not do anything. It's like, where's your curiosity?
I really
don't know.
hope that Rebecca stops doing this in the next books, because this is really, every time this happens, I just roll my eyes. It kind of really takes me out of the story, you know? I just want to close the book and just not pick it up again for a week. That's how I feel.
Exactly. I agree with you. It just feels like bad writing, you know? Like, she has this plot in mind, and for this plot, like, characters aren't allowed to figure out, like, what's happening in there yet. But she's going to, like, point to it and hit to it in such a way that's, like, completely obvious to us readers. And then we will be like, well, obviously there's some weird shit going on over here. Like, why is nobody doing anything about it? And, like, if the book was plotted better, if it was, like, developed better, I feel like we would avoid those kinds of moments because things would make more sense. So, you know, I get that it was probably, like, a time constraint to write this book. So, like, I just wish she was given more time, basically, to plan this whole series.
Yep, that's very true. Okay, this is a quote that I love from Zayden. You probably won't care, but I just have to read it and I'll move on. You want full disclosure when it comes to me, right? How is this for open? His gaze drops to my mouth. I would have done the same thing you did because I'm just as reckless for you as you are for me. I love that. I don't know, there's just something about these romances when they say that they're reckless about them, like they're reckless. It does it for me, you know? And I just love it when they're like, they gave you that feeling like they would burn the whole world for you, you know? They would burn the world down just to get you back and save your life. Like, I love that.
Yeah, that one was awesome, definitely.
Yeah. And the heist, I love the heist, like you already mentioned it, you did too. I loved how they all work together. I love the fact when she filled Rhiannon and her friends in on everything. I was amazed by that, and I was just super glad that we didn't get any drama between them, you know, no like, oh, how couldn't you have told me, you bitch, or I don't know what. So I'm glad it was accepted in a very mature way, and that we moved along very fast.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I definitely think that Violet should have seen that, you know, having all those friends in the know would be an asset. Like, her friends are smart, her friends are capable, and her friends aren't, like, evil, so obviously they would be on her side. So, you know, if they worked together sooner, I feel like things could have, like, moved along quicker, you know? So, that's true.
Yeah, and I just remembered another theory that I have to mention so I don't forget. And it's not my theory, so this is a disclaimer. It's not my theory. I read it somewhere online. Sorry if I don't give anyone any credit. But, so Violet, it's pretty obvious that she's probably going to have a second signet, right? Because she's paired with two dragons. She's the badass, you know, hero. Anyways, there's a theory online that her second signet is an amplifier, so that she amplifies other people's powers. And there were like quite a few examples of this, of when she has done this, but I forgot. I just remember this one with Rhiannon. So so she had something in her pocket. I forgot what it was, something important that Varnish couldn't find. And Rhiannon, you know, she can like teleport in a way.
Oh, exactly. You know? Yeah.
So she kind of took it from her pocket. And the thing is that she has never done that before. So it was the first time. And people assume that it's because she was close to Violet and that she kind of amplified her ability. And this isn't the only example. There are like multiple examples of when she possibly amplified other people's abilities. But I can't remember now. I'm sorry. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. I have to think about, like, how do they, like, practice in class? Because, I don't know, if she's doing it subconsciously, then, like, everyone standing around her will just, like, suddenly be better at everything, you know? So,
that's true. I don't know. But maybe it's also connected to emotions. Like, in that situation, she was, you know, very afraid. She was, you know, feeling things. So maybe that also helped.
It was a high-stakes situation.
Exactly,
I agree with you.
Is there anything else that you want to say about the heist or something related to that?
No, but we can talk about the scene after the heist where Violet gets captured and tortured.
That was actually a awful scene. I mean, I actually felt her anxiety in that scene when she was tortured and stuff. That was hard to read.
Absolutely. I feel like, that scene and the heist were just done so well. I was actually like emotional. I actually wanted to know like what will happen later, like how will she get out of it. I was like pissed off at this fucking Varnish guy, you know, so I feel like it was done so well. Like Violet is super strong to get through this, to like not break, to not like give anything, and also fucking Liam is there.
Liam.
Oh my god.
Fucking Liam. My heart.
Oh god.
Anya, that was like super sad. I actually, when he was there with her all along, he was like with her every step of the way. I actually did shed a tear. I got emotional, and I don't know, I just really wanted to believe that in this world, like, spirits are a thing, they just don't know it, and that he was actually there with her, like, seriously. Or that maybe her second signet is like seeing spirits and communicating with the dead.
I just wanted to say that.
Oh my god, I got goosebumps. What if that's her second, Anya?
What if it is that and it just like manifests when she's like super stressed, or it's like a super like horrible situations, and
it would make sense that it's Liam because, you know, he's the one that kind of died not so long ago. She was traumatized by his death, seriously emotionally affected by it. So, like, if she sees her mom in the second book or something, we'll know that that's her signet. For real. So, I really want to believe this. I want to believe that she can see and communicate with that and that Liam was actually there. Like, you can't, like, if this doesn't happen, I'm gonna be so mad.
Yeah. No, I'm believing that this was actually Liam. Like, I don't care what the explanation is. Like, he was just here. Like, ghosts exist, or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it happened. Like, it wasn't part of her imagination in my head, and this is what I will choose to believe no matter what Rebecca says.
Exactly. We write our own stories, okay? We don't need Rebecca. Who's Rebecca?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And there was like a small quote. She says, Liam, don't leave me. I won't. I swear. My heart.
I really hope that he is like following her around and like looking at everything that's happening. Oh
I so hope that, seriously.
He is there in my heart. He is there with them. He's the best. I won't take any negativity towards him. Oh, but can we talk about Dane in that scene?
Yes, I just wanted to mention him. Well, I actually expected him to take her side. Like, that's what I thought about Dane. You know, I knew he was, like, questionable. I mean, honestly, I feel like Rebecca really tricked us with, you know, that statement in the first book when he said, I miss you. It really did feel like he was saying goodbye because he was aware of what they were walking into. So that was very dramatic of him. I'll miss you or whatever. But it can be interpreted that way. But anyway, I always knew, like, even in that scene, like, when I believed that Dane knew about everything, I still thought that, I don't know, that he wouldn't really want... I mean, no, actually, no. Wait a second, I have to think it over.
Yeah.
I mean, he sent her to her dad in that scene, in my belief, and I'm saying that I don't think he would actually do that to her. It doesn't make sense. What am I talking about? I mean...
Just... Dane apologist here.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't like Dane in the first book. He got on my nerves so bad. I'm gonna say it like this, okay? I always, like, even in the first book, I had a feeling about Dane that he will follow the rules. He's a sucker for rules, but that he would never actually intentionally hurt Violet. So when he said, I miss you, and when I interpreted in that way, like everyone else did, I was so shocked. I didn't see it coming, and I was kind of disappointed that, you know, I gave him the benefit of the doubt. So when he kind of told her in this book, you know, that that's not what he actually meant, I immediately believed him. I knew it wasn't like a trick or anything, that he wasn't manipulating her, because that's the feeling that I had from the first book. Like, I disliked him. I actually kind of hated him, but still, I just knew that him and Violet are, you know, really friends, truly. Even though he was a bad friend for a while, but still. So yeah, when he got there, I just knew, oh my gosh, he's not gonna go through with this. He's gonna help her, and I'm so happy that he did. So yeah, I had a good feeling about him, and I'm glad it paid off.
Yeah, honestly, I think that you have a really good point here. Yeah, in the first book, I just wasn't a fan of him, even before, you know, we all thought he was evil, like when we thought that he was just like this rule follower with like a giant crush. I was still like, I never liked him, like the way he was like trying to protect Violet and everything, like it got on my nerves. I feel like he was never like really listening to her, and then he was reading her fucking mind. Like, that's like a pretty big violation. And then like supposedly he sent her to her death. I don't know, like in that moment I interpreted it as like he probably knew that the command or whatever like planned something for them, but he like didn't know that they would like actually die. Like I thought that maybe he knew like something more, but he wouldn't like actually send them there if like he knew that she would die. But it was still a betrayal in my mind. It still felt like he must have known something and still betrayed her. So when in this book we found out that like no, actually like he was just genuinely saying that he'll miss her because he finally accepted, you know, that they won't be together, and gave like actual like legit apologies and admitted to fucking up, and then actually was badass and came to save her. Actually, like yeah, at that moment in this scene, like of course I immediately knew like they will be there for her, like he'll trick everyone and he will save her. But then like this scene just like kept going on and on and on, and he kept like being like evil, you know, and like not doing anything. I was like, damn, is Rebecca actually going through with this? Is he actually going to be a piece of shit? And then at the last moment he's like, no, like I'll save Violet. And I was like, fuck yes. Like that was some king shit right there. And I don't think like, I don't know if he like fully redeemed himself to me in this book, but I'm definitely like more on the side of Dane now. Like I don't hate him anymore. Like I feel like he had some like really cool badass moments over here.
Same. I still think we need to more of him for me to actually just forget about his overprotectiveness and just hypocrisy.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I actually hate hypocrisy more than I hate like toxicity. Honestly, like hypocrites just get on my nerves like no other, you know, no one else. So yeah, I was happy it turned out that way anyway, and hope we best friends still. And there's actually this quote about Dane.
Sure.
And the boy I used to climb trees with along its river will be my demise. When she, you know, still thought that, when she thought at that moment that he's gonna actually, you know, kill her or, well, find out her secrets. So I'm glad that it turned out around, and I thought it was such a nostalgic quote, you know, it was cute, I liked it.
You know what, I feel like it would have worked better for me if we knew literally anything else about their friendship besides climbing trees.
Yeah.
Like that's what I feel
It's not
like
that deep,
this...
it's not that deep.
Yeah, like that's what those books miss, I feel like. Actual like stronger build up of relationships, of friendships, because like we just like get told over and over and over like, oh, like we're besties, we're best friends, we used to do everything together. Like what did you do? Like let me know, what did you do? Climb trees? That's all we find out for like the 16th time? Like I don't believe it, you know? Like there's no depth there, so
I
just
agree.
made me like, ugh.
It would be really good to get like a throwback, a memory, like she looks at Dane and all of a sudden she gets this flashback of them like hanging out in their favorite spot along the river talking about I don't know what. And you know, that would be so cool, and then you, that way you get emotionally attached. And also now that we're mentioning this, I felt the same way about just all of the relationships in the book. I mean, it did get better throughout the book. I feel like at the end I was invested, but yeah, like the first book didn't make me feel like this, and also the beginning of the second one, you know, like for example Violet and Xaden, you know, I always just I also didn't feel the depth for a while there. And when he started, you know, telling her things, he was confessing them in his letters that he was sending to her. And at the beginning, I was kind of annoyed by that because I wanted them to actually talk, you know, even though letters are romantic. And then, like, I just remember that scene from The Mortal Instruments from Jace and Clary when he told her about the falcon, how, you know, his dad made him break his neck and stuff. Like, I don't know, that's such a moment from a book that I'll remember forever because it just felt so tragic and poetic, and I loved it. And in the movie, it was also executed very nicely. So it made me think of that, and I was just like, give her some kind of an experience in that way, you know, just tell her something like that, you know, that would make me feel so much more about everything in the situation. And
Oh, I feel this. Yeah, I feel like in letters, but maybe that's a part of his character, you know, maybe that's the only way he knows how to express himself, because from all his trauma, it's just like hard to like actually speak plainly when they meet. Definitely I could see that, but I still like wasn't like, like I wasn't like, because of this too, like I wasn't super invested in their relationship, because instead of like, you know, slowly building it and like slowly they find out more about each other and slowly they like open up or whatever. If we didn't like super get that, it was more like from Violet, like, that's the hottest man I've ever seen. Holy fuck. Why do I love him so much when he's so toxic? Like, and that's like, it just like gets on my nerves after a while, you know, like you're not saying anything new. We've heard this like for 47 times in this book, right? And from Zayden also just like, well, if you asked me the right questions, then maybe you would have found out something. And I'm like, you get your shit together. Like, Jesus, I know trauma, everything, blah, 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 but still like, like figure out sooner that you're being a piece of shit, you know. And like Violet also, they're both just like, stop. It wasn't fun. I don't know, it wasn't fun.
Honestly. Guys, I wish you could see Anya. She's so annoyed. It's so funny. Like her face, it's hilarious.
Oh God.
I love it.
I'm sorry.
Don't apologize. Don't.
Bothered me. I don't know. I don't care how wrong I am about this, but like this question thing is such like a way to like get out of the situation. Like he even says later that it never occurred to me that you would ask about the second signet. So that bitch knew what he was doing by like setting up like all of his arguments in the way that he did. Like how could I possibly know that I would have to tell you that I robbed a bank on July 14, 2004 and then had to like change my identity and run into a different country? And I was on the run ever since. Like, you never asked me that specifically. Like, so that's kind of your fault. Like, you can't like do that. Or like you can, but then like you're shitty.
That was so frustrating. The fact that she had to ask him the right questions. She had to specify everything. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you're in a relationship, just tell her, like, she doesn't have to ask you every single thing. That's, like, insane. It's, like, difficult to even, so she has to make a list and just, all the questions she has to ask, like, what, you're on an interview? It's what?
Exactly. Like, are you a genie? Are you a sphinx? Like, what's happening?
Exactly. Plus, I feel like for me in relationships, whether they're friendships or romances, conversation is really important. You know, I have to be able to talk to the person, you know, like deep conversations, funny conversations, everything. It has to flow naturally, I think. And with them, it sometimes felt like it didn't. Because like every time they wanted to talk about something, he would just be like, well, you didn't specify. And I'm like, but I wouldn't want that. Exactly like you said, that's not a trait that I'm looking for in a man or anyone. So yeah, why do I have to drag things out of you? Like, why? It just doesn't feel natural and it doesn't feel nice or romantic or anything.
Absolutely. And then he like twists it around to like make it so as if it's Violet's fault that she doesn't know what to ask and that she just doesn't trust him enough. So it's almost like he is aware that he's hiding things that he thinks that she won't ask. So he knows what he's doing and he's still like trying to twist it as if like Violet is delusional and like...
Yeah.
Still, like, I don't think he's evil, but, like, I felt like I knew what he was doing and, like, I wasn't, like, appreciating that. And also, like, I remember one moment in the book where Violet even, like, thinks that, like, this is, like, such a nice and peaceful moment, like, I'm enjoying it, and, like, I am afraid of asking something that would break it. And that just made me, like, that you don't want to be feeling that.
Yeah, you don't want to tiptoe around your favorite person. Like, that's toxic in itself. And also, like, and I hate it when characters want to make a person feel delusional, even though they're right. Yeah. And, you know, because I had friends in the past that would make me feel like that. You know, I would face them and be open about something and they would just spin it like I'm the problem. So that is something that I have, I just get so angry about. And he was definitely doing this. And yeah, you're totally right about that. I mean, I'm just like, be a man. Speak up. Speak the fuck up, right?
Honestly. Like, if we're giving, being devil's advocate, whatever, like, I get it. Like, this sort of signet, like, they don't ask questions in this universe. They just fucking murder you. So... like, bitch, if, like, I had this, I would be hiding it from everybody. Like, no chance. Like, it must be, like, so scary to be in Satan's position. So I'm not, like, trying to just, like, say, of course he should have, like, trusted Violet immediately with something that could literally kill him. But I still, like, feel like that doesn't give him, like, the right to be this shady and this manipulative. Like, in the previous book, we got Zayden, like, promising to tell Violet just everything about everything, and like Violet took it to heart, like it's a promise. So, if in this book, we just got like a nice, honest conversation where Zayden was like, well, damn, I did promise that, and that was shitty of me because I am a leader of the rebellion. Like, I can't do that. So, that's on me. My fault. I'm sorry. I won't promise shit like this anymore. I would be like, okay, reason, like, we all make mistakes. Like, as you said, like, none of us are perfect. Sometimes we promise something we don't mean. Sometimes we, like, lie or manipulate. And then, like, when we figure out that we did something wrong, we should be like, well, shit, like, I fucked up. I'll do better. Like, that's all I wanted from Zayden. And what I got instead was, like, kind of like, but wasn't it naive of you to believe that the leader of the rebellion would just, like, tell you everything? Like, isn't it kind of on you that you took my promise?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's true. That's true. Like, I mean, honestly, at that moment when I was reading all of that, I was kind of, I don't know, I feel like I wasn't focused enough for something. I didn't even register what he was saying and what she was saying. So in that sense,
Sure.
and I was reading really fast, so I think in that sense, I was just like, oh my gosh, Violet, you're being annoying. Of course, like, he's in a leadership position. Of course, he can't tell you everything. I mean, for you to expect him to just tell you everything is insane. But I didn't think about the fact that, he didn't even acknowledge the fact that he might have misspoken. He didn't acknowledge his mistake, he just like manipulated her in a way like it's on you. So I don't like that because it's again, making her feel delusional in a way. And I don't appreciate that either. But in that moment when I read that, it didn't even register. But now that we're talking about it, I agree.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad. And I was kind of really actually like proud of Violet, I guess, and just like really liked her in those moments because like she didn't let herself be manipulated. Not that you like let yourself be manipulated, but she was like, oh no, like I'm not falling for this shit. She had like a strong sort of like backbone and a strong sort of position that like, yes, like, I'm in love with you and you're the most attractive man I've ever seen and I cannot shut the fuck up about it for multiple paragraphs. And even so, if you treat me like this, I will take a step back and, like, I will not, like, let this happen. So kudos to her for this,
I agree. Sometimes I feel like, growing up in a manipulative family or something, I think that when you're in a manipulative relationship, you can't really see the person manipulating you because you're used to this behavior. So you don't even register it as manipulating. You just register it something normal. So I'm happy that this isn't the case with Violet. It seems that she really does know what manipulation is. And just like you said, that she faced him and she had the backbone and she didn't back down just because she was in love with him. I really appreciate that about her. And I love that about her as a character. And just like I did in the first book, when she just said was on her mind, she didn't allow herself to be put in situations that she did not want to end up in.
Totally. It's so interesting with Violet. In some ways, I feel like she is super smart, she's super emotionally intelligent, she's super intelligent, but then at other times she's just like oblivious and like misses skins and doesn't pursue like an obvious thread or something. And I feel like it's more on the fault of the writer and like the schedule for writing this.
Exactly, I didn't blame Violet for her lack of intelligence. I blamed the author for her decisions that were making Violet more stupid. Because I did see that she was intelligent, when with the poison and stuff. And here in this situation, she was also being intelligent. So I was just like, I'm blaming you, Rebecca. I still like Violet. So
Totally, yeah.
And you know what else I missed kind of in the book? I missed her training for her abilities. Like, it seems she still doesn't know what to do with her powers. She's still, like, it's the second book and these books are thick. And she still doesn't really know how to control her lightning. And I really liked when she got that instructor, Felix. And he told her basically that she's just a glorified light show. And I love that. I love that he was being, because that's how I felt. I was like, what can you actually like do? Can you like, actually hurt anyone? Can you aim? No, you can't. So if you can't aim, sorry, it's useless, right? Like you could actually hurt Zayden, for example, like if you can't aim.
Oh my gosh.
So I liked her instructor. I liked Felix because I felt like he was very direct and he didn't take any shit. And I imagined him as sexy in my head just because I really love honest and direct people, so I just automatically thought, oh my gosh, this guy is a hunk, you know? And I hope that we get more of him in the next books.
Awesome. Well, for me, I feel like there was at least an in-universe explanation for why she was like as bad at her powers as she was, because like the fucking varnish guy, the fucking instructor at the college, like they both wanted her to not know shit because they're
true.
like not supposed to know about the runes and everything. So I don't think it was actually the fault of the writer. I feel like that was deliberate to show like how manipulative and how horrible like the leadership is. Like they won't even like tell her what can she actually do because that's beneficial to them. But I still feel like, of course, like we as readers, we want to know what she can do. And also like, again, Violet is super smart. She's super intelligent. Didn't she ever think like, maybe I should look into this more? Like, I don't know, look at some books, like what can lighting people do that like this college might not be teaching me. So like, you're right. Like she should have like maybe looked into this more before.
I know that I for sure would. Like, I would want to know everything about these abilities. Like, sometimes when I'm really into something, you know, that I'm really curious about it, I just go online and I just fucking Google it for the entire night. I don't stop, you know? So I'm like that. I'm a curious person and I just don't understand how you can just accept things at face value, you know? And especially when you know that these people here, that you can't really trust them. So, but yeah, okay. I mean... It is explainable, I guess, so let's not dwell on it too long. This is a comedic moment that I really liked with Brennan, Mira, and Violet, and Zayden. So I'm gonna read it. Seriously, Brennan remarks, right in front of me. Oh, this is tame for them, Mira replies. Wait until they decide to basically climb each other in a public place. You can't burn that shit out of your head, trust me. I love this. Because I, for example, I'm shy when it comes to, you know, being like public and kissing people in public and stuff. Or, okay, maybe I can do it in public, but in front of my parents, for example, or my sisters. I can't, you know. So this was so funny for me because this is how I would feel. And if I saw my sister kiss someone, I would also be like, that's so gross. I don't want to see that.
Definitely. Oh my gosh. Can I be a little bit more of a grumpy grump hater about this whole thing, though?
Okay, sure.
Because, you know, the moment that Mira is referring to in this little funny quote is when... Yeah, it's when Violet went to, like, visit that outpost and Zayden was there. The way that he greeted her was, I'm going to have to force your hand and I'm sorry. You have about 2 seconds to decide if you want time to talk in private tonight. And after, like, he words it like that, she agrees. And then he asks her to kiss him. And she kisses him and they, like, make out. You know, the reason that Zayden asked all of that was because Mira was there. And, like, his logic was that, like, obviously Mira would want Violet to stay over with her, especially because Zayden and Violet are not together at this moment. So how would he get to hang out with Violet? Like, he has to, like, get her to kiss him and, like, tell her sister to, like, back off. And, like, look, if he had 2 seconds to telepathically communicate the way that he communicated, he also had time to telepathically communicate, hey, your sister is here. If you want to stay over at my place, like, let's make out, like, kiss me. That's it. Like, there was no reason to lie and manipulate, like, withhold information and manipulate at that moment. So that was, I felt like so kind of sad for Violet here as well, because then she was also put in this situation where she kind of, like, had to lie to her sister and pretend that she and Zayden were, like, all lovey-dovey, even though, like, in this moment they were broken up. And the fact that, like, Zayden, like, knew what kind of situation he would be putting Violet in and still was like, no, I'm going to, like, make sure the situation works out in my favor and I will, like, manipulate. I was, like, disappointed. That's what I was, yeah.
Yeah, I get your point. I mean, I didn't necessarily think that she was put into a situation where she had to lie to her sister, just because I feel like they were broken up, but they still had a thing going on. Like, it wasn't, they weren't in a relationship, but they were definitely in a situationship, you know,
Definitely.
And the feelings were still there. And even if that didn't happen, you know, Mira could have seen the way she looked at him and she could have immediately said, oh my gosh, you are totally in love with this guy. You know, yeah. I don't think she actually had to lie to her. And I didn't read read that situation the way you did. I just kind of thought it was really cute, and I thought it was very dramatic, and I don't know, I just imagined them like immediately seeing each other, running to each other and just kissing passionately, and I really dug that. And also like Mira and Zayden, they don't get along. Like Mira, we saw in the first book that she kind of displayed, not trusting and not liking Zayden. So I can only imagine him being like, oh, you'll see now. Yeah, I'll show you, your sister and I were in love and you can't do shit about it. And I feel like I would do the same thing. Like, for example, if... Like, of course, it's important that the family of the person you're with likes you. But I would, be like, what will you do? We're in love. Just accept it. You know what I mean? Like, just trust your sister that she knows what she's doing, So, I don't know. I just kind of read it like him trying to show Mira we were together, like, in a cute way. And also, I'm pretty sure that it wasn't all staged. I'm pretty sure that he really wanted this chance to also just kiss Violet like that. And I don't know, I really didn't take it as him manipulating her in that way. Or even if it was just kind of like a cute manipulation situation. Like, okay. I don't know. I don't think Violet even felt bad about it afterwards either. So I don't know. And, like we said, Violet, she kind of recognizes manipulation and she faces him about it. And she was fine. She registered it as, a cute gesture, not as something bad, I think.
Actually, what she said after that was, shit, I really don't want to lie to my sister any more than I have to. So she wasn't super comfortable afterwards in that moment. But you're free to interpret it completely differently from me. I just feel like even if definitely I see the point where you just want to be like, fuck you, I love her, there's nothing you can do about it. So I'm fine with that kind of showing off. But he could have showed off like that and still inform Violet in those 2 seconds that they had, just say hey, your sister is here, but I love you and I want to be in your room, so let's make out. And she would have, so what was the reason to go into this sort of direction with that?
I think just to be dramatic. I don't know. I didn't read into it that deeply because also the consequences weren't that bad. And like I said previously, it didn't really feel to me like Violet had to lie to her sister. I know she might have thought that in that moment, but like I said, her sister would have deciphered this whether they kissed or not.
That's probably totally true, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to kind of a sad situation. I felt really sad when that not little girl, but that girl, she was very short. And she couldn't jump when they were going with their griffins uphill. Her name was Luelia. And she died along with her griffin. That was such a sad moment. I don't know, I actually got kind of attached to this girl in a very short amount of time. Also because one of the other, I think it was Marin, she said that she's such an adorable person that even if you don't like her, you'll like her. There's no way you can't like her. So it was so cute. And what I also found to be adorable was when all of the griffins, when they died, they kind of cried at the same time for them. For their fallen flyer, and it just felt like their community is so much better than the dragon community. The griffins feel so much more, I don't know, they have more heart in my opinion. And yeah, I just like that. And then soon after that we realized that when they jump they don't die, and I was just like, oh my gosh, I like this community way better.
Honestly, yeah, they're not the bad guys, or I don't even know, I just think that they have a more healthier society, I guess.
Yeah.
We've seen Violet walking and she was like, this place just has decorations in it that are not practical, and no one breaks this shit in the war. Oh my god, poor people of the Empyrean, they just had shitty conditions for so long. I was at that moment I was kind of damn, I'm glad that we're getting more world building and that it's sort of like that. Yeah,
it really felt good to realize these things. And yeah, and I don't know, even with dragons, they when the dragon dies, they don't give a shit. They don't care if a dragon dies. They're I don't know, it didn't feel like that, at least to me. I know at one point when one of the dragons was hurt, Tairn was kind of... but like I said, we've mentioned this in the previous episode, sometimes it feels like Violet got two of the most, passionate and hearted dragons. The other dragons don't seem that way, but maybe just because we don't read too much about them, but yeah.
Maybe so. I mean, they're willing to, fry and burn anyone who's, a smidge disrespectful to them. So like they're kind of
Yeah.
assholes. That's just
Yeah.
their society. So I feel that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
True. And how do you feel about like all the new characters we saw that are from like the Griffin side?
I just wanted to mention Sloane, actually. Oh, sorry, she's not from the Griffin side, but just I want to mention her real quick. I was kind of annoyed at her at the beginning. You know, like I understood that Liam died and she's hurting, and I feel like she wanted someone to blame. And of course, Violet was the most, you know, rational person, I guess, in a way. But I don't know. I just kind of, again, I was like, yo, oh my gosh. I mean, it's not against Sloane. It was just about this character that's annoying. You know, I didn't need that. Like Jack, I was annoyed by Jack, and I don't need another one, a mean girl, whatever. But I really liked how Violet handled the situation. And, you know, how she told her, look, I have letters from Liam. You will train. And every time you win, you know, battle or something, you're going to get one letter. And I just love that. You know, she didn't kiss her ass. She wasn't like, oh, no, please like me. I want you to like me. No, she said, like, pull your shit together, survive, and, you know, yeah, that's it. I don't need you to like me. I don't need us to be friends. And I love that. It was such a badass bitch move. I loved it.
Exactly. That's like another moment of like Violet's emotional maturity. Like she didn't take any of this shit personally. She was like, yeah, I see where she's coming from, so of course she'll hate me. And like I'll just accept that and move on. So that was actually like pretty great from her. But I did get Sloane. Like of course, right, like she's going through something traumatic, she's grieving. To like process all of those feelings, you have to like at least put the blame on someone, because like it's hard to accept that like, you know, bad things just happen. So like of course that's how she'd react initially. And like I kind of like hope that like she will be able to get through it and get better. So this is what happened. So it wasn't like that annoying to me.
That's true. Then let's move on to, oh my gosh, Kat. She's written as Catriona, whatever. But actually, this is supposedly a Welsh name, I think. I apologize if I'm wrong, but supposedly it's pronounced actually as Katrina.
Okay, Katrina.
Yeah,
okay.
So
noted.
But we can call her Kat or whatever, Katrina. I like Katrina better anyways. So yeah, oh my gosh, this girl. Oh my gosh, I despised her. I just hated the fact that the writer felt the need to create this stupid animosity between these two girls or women or whatever you want to call them. Like, the shit that she pulled, like, I have examples here. Just a second, please. I mean, this behavior is absurd. The note for Mira knocking on the doors in the morning, half naked. I mean, what is this? Like, primary school? What are we? Like, children in kindergarten? What is this behavior?
Oh my gosh, you're so right. I was like, all of this over a guy in the year of the Barbie movie? Like, this is how women are treating each other? Did we need this? Did we need another, like, typical mean girl? Was this bringing anything into the conversation? I feel not. So, of course, I was hating the character, but I was, like, hating the writer's decision more. I was just like, is this actually in the book that got released in 2023 with characters that are, like, full-on in their 20s? And, of course, I mean, it's not a great trope for women and feminism, but it's also just like fucking unrealistic. Like, do you know fucking anyone who is like at the old age of 20 who would still like do all of that over like a dude? Like, maybe I'm not hanging out with people like that, but I was just like, Jesus fuck, like, who is this person? Like, I don't know this person. No one in my life acts that way. Like, why are we still writing women like that? So actually, I was just so annoyed by her.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, at least I was glad that when we got to know more about her, you actually, like, got her to say, like, something like, fuck no, this isn't about love. I actually, like, want a title and I want power, and that's why I'm doing this. So I feel like at least this, like, added some depth to what she was doing. And, you know, maybe that was intentional to make us, like, believe that she's just, like, the shallow mean girl who would, like, attack another woman about a guy. But then we would be like, oh, no, it's actually that she wants power and that's why she is so nasty. I still don't like her as a person, you know, for being so nasty. But, like, at least from, like, the point of view of like characters, I can appreciate that there's like a bit more depth to her than like the like typical mean girl, right?
Yeah. Ugh, yeah, I agree. For me, it's not like even about feminism or whatever, because sometimes I feel like even feminism can be a bit toxic, but okay, that's a debate for another day. And also, like, you know, you have female empowerment online and everyone's supporting everyone, liking each other's pictures, commenting. But then when you meet that person in real life, like, they look at you in a nasty way or don't even say hello. And that's like very common. So, you know, people say, yeah, it's the 21st century, like we're, you know, we've progressed in that way, but honestly, like sometimes it hasn't. And honestly, I can definitely see women still being shadow, and I don't mind them being represented like that in a book, because sadly it is realistic, you know. But like you said, you know, the way that she behaves, Catriona, that's not something I feel like even the most shallow woman, that's not the way anyone would behave, no matter how shallow you are or whatever goals you have in mind, just because like these are just childish games. If at least you would be more, I don't know, smarter about it, more strategic, if it would be like on a better level, I don't know, on a more mature
Honestly,
level.
yeah.
This was kids play, you know. And you know, that's actually what you mentioned, that the writer maybe wanted to just represent, yeah, that she was doing this because she actually wanted power and not a man. This is actually something that Rebecca said in an interview, that's exactly why, you know, she did it. She said basically that in a lot of books you see like men fighting, you know, in stupid ways for power, and you kind of never judge them, you kind of understand. But when it comes to women, she kind of wanted to see if feminism would come into play here, and if we would still understand, or if she would still like get on our nerves. She basically pretty much said that if she does get on your nerves, and if you do judge her after finding out her true feelings, you're not a feminist. I mean, that's how I read it, and it just felt wrong, because you can write this in a different way. Like, she could have shown her battle for power in a different way, because the way Kat acted was very catty. You know, these were just such catty, stupid ways to fight for power or whatever. This wasn't like the way to go about it. So, I'm sorry, but I wouldn't like this person no matter what. It's not cool. It's not okay.
So it was a dude, but he was doing like the same childish, stupid shit in order to like get, I don't know, like power and be king. Like you would still hate that, right?
Of course I would. Yeah. Like, I would just be like, what is with this guy? I would be rolling my eyes all the time.
Yeah, I see that. I mean, I feel like I can still see like what Rebecca was aiming for, because I definitely fell for it completely. I was just like, oh, this mean girl, like, again, are we doing this seriously? And then when, you know, we got this reveal that all of this is not about love, but about like the title, I was like, okay, actually I didn't expect that there would be more to her motivation. So like, good job, you tricked me, you know. So okay, like, I'll appreciate and I'll, you know, give Rebecca kudos for like tricking me and like subverting my expectations in that way. But I also definitely see your point that like, even though, you know, she's not a typical mean girl or whatever, like, her tactics were still shitty. So if you hate her for her tactics being shitty and stupid, I totally see that, and like, I respect it.
Exactly, because it's like you said that you like respect to Rebecca for tricking you, but how could she not trick you when Kat was acting so catty? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If her strategy was more mature and she still tricked you, then you could be like, okay, kudos, Rebecca. And for example, they were fighting in that ring, and she was telling her how she's the one who taught Xaden that trick that he does with his tongue or his fingers. And I just cringed so hard. And when I found out that Xaden's actually in the room, I was like, oh my gosh, can I die right now? I felt like I was there. And you know, even like, if this is her fight for power, how will she get power by doing all of this? Like, why would Xaden ever want to be with you and want to get an alliance with you after you act so bratty and so stupid? Like, what? She didn't even manipulate anyone. You know, she wasn't being sneaky. She could have been nice to her in her face and do some sneaky shit behind her back or something like that. That would make more sense. Like, this isn't in what way would you achieve any kind of power by behaving like this? It's not logical to me.
Yeah, it's like I said, like, no one in real life is like that past the age of like 15. And yeah, I agree. Like, basically, Right, like there are still toxic women, like even in the 21st century, definitely not all women are like perfect angels, some of them act toxic. Even so, like you don't act like that once you're out of like high school at most. Even if you like hate her and like want her boyfriend, like this is not the level that you stoop to if you like matured past the age of 16. So I definitely agree with you there. It was just like eye rolly that, you know, we're still getting this.
Yep, exactly. It's like when, you know, Rebecca wanted to represent danger by sending people to their deaths for no reason. She wanted to present Kat as this woman who wants to get some power and become someone in this world by doing things that were senseless, you know? It's kind of a parallel.
Yeah. Maybe I'll take the devil's advocate role again and say that maybe it was deliberate, like maybe she deliberately went in as hard as she could on like the cattiness and the childishness to like really be like, you thought that she was doing this for a guy. Guess what? It's not like maybe like she wanted it to be like exaggerated to this level, but you know, like we can argue whether like she succeeded in achieving anything with this or if she just like made her more unlikable, you know.
Maybe, yeah. But like there's another quote that I also didn't like that I feel like is very childish, like childish behavior, and it's actually from Imogen. She says, "Hey," Imogen puts her hands up. "I'm Team Violet. Just saying that I bet if Zayden ever called it quits, you'd fight to get him back too." I mean, seriously, she would what? If he called quits, she would what? Like beg on her knees to get him back? Like this mindset is just blowing my mind. I need to put context here. Imogen sent this in the way of like kind of being devil's advocate for Kat in the sense, you know, I'm Team Violet, but if he called quits, you know, I would still, she would also behave like Kat. And I'm like, no, she would not. I mean, if she's a mature, emotionally mature person, she would never behave like Kat. What are you saying?
Honestly,
and that was, and it wasn't even commented upon. It's like, does the author, does Rebecca actually think like this? I don't get it.
That's such a good point. Maybe, yeah. I remember another quote. I believe it's from Imogen. If it's not, then like, fuck me, I'm sorry. But someone said to Violet, I believe it was Imogen, like, but you'll forgive Zayden eventually for not telling you everything, right? Or like, you'll let go of this grudge that you're holding on Zayden, right? Like, sort of like minimizing Violet's feelings, sort of being like, but...
Yeah.
And again, like, it was sort of made... like written in a way that like we're supposed to like be agreeing with her that like Violet is overreacting, and like I wasn't a fan of it. Like I get that Imogen is Zayden's friend and she would like be like on his side, but I was more on Violet's side at that moment, like as we know.
Of course. Yeah, same. Like what kind of a thinking is that? Okay. Okay, there's just another comment that I want to make about the Gryphons and then we can move on. Just a quote. There's something infinitely more human about the way the Flyers react. And I really like that. Because, yeah, they felt more human. And that's a really good way of putting it. Okay, then let's move on to the wards. So, throughout the situation, she was kind of trying to build the wards so that they would be protected.
Yes.
And I was kind of disappointed that she, like, attempted the first time. And then for a while, she just kind of gave up. She just stopped researching. She just stopped. And I actually commented here, I put a note here that I don't understand why she just gave up on the wards. Why is she still not trying to find a solution? Because, eventually she did, she did think about it and stuff, and she put her mind to it, and I'm glad about that. But it took her a while, and I'm like, why give up so fast? You still need the words. The answer is in there. Just, like, try harder. Like, don't just give up. I hate that.
Exactly. It was, again, like, they needed that dramatic moment where it gets done at the very last second to get, like, this danger again. Like, Rebecca, like, plan things better, because then we get, like, bad pacing. I don't know.
Yeah. And then there's also that revelation about the runes, that they can, like, really help you with stuff. I don't know. I'm confused about that whole thing, but let's not delve into it too much. But, like, if you remember, she was, like, when she was being interrogated and tortured, she kind of, I don't remember the exact situation, but something helped her get out of that interrogation. No, not when she was being tortured, but when she was being held with her friends, and then they managed to escape as part of their training. So she kind of she kind of got out, and she didn't understand how she unlocked the door. but actually it was because of the runes that she had on her knives that Xaden gave her.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Like, I'm not saying that she should have noticed the knives and, oh my gosh, these runes, they are the ones that helped me. But again, like, another situation where she just didn't think. Like, seriously, the doors magically opened for you, and you don't even you don't even wait to consider for a second why that happened. What might be the cause for that? I mean, I feel like I'm being a broken record right now and just repeating all of these, but like, I had to point it out because I put it in my notes and I was annoyed by it, so I just have to say it.
No, I didn't even think about it like that, so it's good that you pointed it out, because, yeah, it's true.
Oh, I also love that throne room scene with Xaden and Violet. I don't remember the exact conversation. Sadly, I didn't like quote anything here. But I just remember how, she was being a bit insecure about, Kat, everything that she said to her. And, there was like this, what was it, an oral sex scene, right, between her and Xaden. He wanted to satisfy her, and he just wanted to show her that, he can be selfless, that it's not just about him, that it's about her, and he showed her in a sexual way, sure, but it had deeper meaning behind it, and I really, really liked that. I liked it because it made her feel more secure and better, and I'm happy that he did that for her, because that scene with Kat was just so awful, and she needed something, to kind of, stop thinking about it.
Oh, God. Yeah, I feel like I was just still annoyed with Kat at that moment, and, like, Violet and Xaden are just like not my favorite couple, so I feel like all of that affected the way I was reading my scene. I feel like I would love that relationship, and felt like Violet was upset for a more valid reason that like a cardboard cut out of a mean girl. Like, I would appreciate it on a deeper level, but like, yeah, I'm not like a super not into spicy scenes, but in this book, like, for some reason it didn't like connect with me as much as it like connected to some other people, so I don't know why.
I understand. Okay, what did you think about the dreams that she had? She was dreaming of the villain, and he was telling her stuff, and it actually wasn't a dream. He kind of mentally connected with her, and he actually told her here that the rest turn for power, and that she will also turn, and that she will be the one to tear the wards down herself when the time comes, and but that she will do it for the most illogical of mortal emotions, love, or you'll die. You both will. So this pretty much is kind of a glimpse in the future. This will definitely happen. So somehow she'll have to turn, like, just stop the word so that she kind of saves Xaden's life, because this didn't happen yet. And then we also found out that Xaden, he also had dreams of this villain, and he told him that, he probably hinted that he's gonna, turn villain.
Well,
So this is pretty much like a spoiler in a way, because like this is definitely gonna happen. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And when she found out about the truth about Xaden and like about his signet, I was kind of confused why she was like asking herself like if her emotions are real, like if she actually loves him, because he can like read intentions. He can't like manipulate emotions. So her thought process there was kind of confusing for me.
Well, maybe he can't like manipulate emotions with magic, but like I imagine if you're like going through life and you can tell the intention of every single human being, then you can like tell like, oh, this person is probably thinking this, maybe I should say like that and that and that to this person, then they will like me. So maybe, from this sense, she's thinking like he knew like everything that's going on in my brain. Like that's like Dane on steroids, so he could have told me anything to make me fall in love with him. Maybe
that's true. That's true. I actually was kind of disappointed that I didn't see this signet coming, because I felt like in the previous book, I felt like a lot of the times that Xaden just knows a lot of things. And it also just makes sense because these signets, they resonate with who you are. And Xaden, he is like that. He needs to know everything. Information is key for him. So it just makes so much sense that he would be able to, read intentions.
Yeah. Violet was smart figuring it out because I totally didn't.
Yeah. And then there was like this part, I know you don't feel about their romance, but I have to read it again because I find it cute. Yeah. Less than a minute, Xaden whispers as Gale moves toward us. That's how long it took you to fall out of love with me. I don't know. I mean, I know she
yeah.
didn't actually fall out of love with him, but it's just such a cute and sad statement. Like, Zayden, come on, trust her more. Like, trust the love you have a little bit more. It's just so sad that he just really thinks so little of himself.
Totally, yeah. And I do remember one moment where Zayden was like sitting on the roof somewhere, and Violet like got him like, I don't know, some breakfast or some food to bring with her because she knew he was sad. And like he said, no one's ever taken care of me like that before.
Oh
and I was
my
like,
God.
bitch, she got you a croissant. No one got you a croissant before, ever.
Yeah.
That
don't
explains so
even.
much. You know?
Yes. See why I love him. Like, seriously, he's such a broken... I mean, I won't say broken, that's a bad word. Like, he's just such a puppy and he just wants to be loved and he just doesn't know how. And it's just so sad. And I'm glad that you mentioned this when she brought him that croissant or whatever, because that's something I also wanted to mention. Oh, okay. So now that we've got all of that out of the way, so what happened also was that, you know, the Vinen and the Wyvern, they tried to attack, but the wards were actually, you know, kind of finally up. They were still kind of not doing that well, but they, you know, held them away. So that was great.
Yes.
And then, of course, the final battle happened. Oh my gosh. Before that, there was also a meeting with the leadership, and Brennan kind of showed himself to his mom. He, like, stepped forward. And I also don't like Brennan for this. I mean, I know their mom's not perfect, but Jesus, I don't know. She still is their mom, and she still never actually hurt them physically, I mean, maybe emotionally, but, you know, like, if Mira and Violet can have some kind of a compassion for her, why can't he? I'm just like, it's so cruel to me. I could never do that to my mom. I don't know. I just felt sad about that. And he didn't even, like, flinch. She was there, like, she practically almost sobbed, and he was just there, like, not even looking at her, not even glancing at her. He annoyed me with that too. I don't know. I just don't understand that kind of a coldness, you know?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I don't know how much of a glimpse we got into their childhoods, but I sort of interpreted their mom as a, like, of course she's not evil, she doesn't, like, want to destroy the world or whatever, but I did kind of get the feeling that maybe she was, like, emotionally cold to her children, and she, like, just, like, wanted them to succeed and, like, didn't, like, really connect with them on, like, that, like, really, like, emotional level. So maybe he still, like, has this, like, all resentment, but I maybe that's just, like, me justifying it, but
actually,
yeah, it depends.
I remember, I mean, I think that in the first book it was said, Violet said that their mom was different before their dad died. No, before Brennan died. That before Brennan died, she kind of changed. So I don't think she was always that cold. I think after Brennan died, she became more detached. That was my interpretation. So I guess that's why I'm also more, like, compassionate when it comes to her. And that's why Brennan annoys me a bit more. But of course, like, we can't know for sure. So now that we're talking about her mom, I just have to... This scene broke me. It actually broke me more than Liam's scene. I cried so hard. I don't know. I just... I know what it's like losing a parent. And, you know, I can't even imagine losing my mom too. And I just sobbed so hard. I actually had to stop reading and I just had to pull my shit together. So in that sense, I really like this book because it really did emotionally touch me when it comes at least to this one scene. And there's this, like, quote that I want to read. I can't help myself. "You're everything we dreamed you would be," Mom says quietly, her skin paling even as Sloane's flushes scarlet. "All three of you," she looks down at Brennan, "and I'll get to see him soon." And when she said, "and I'll get to see him soon," I died. I was like, I can't imagine, like, her lifelong partner, her true love died. And of course that's the thing that she would think of, you know, like, that's the peace that it brings her, that even if she'll be gone, even if she won't be with her children, she'll see him again. And I don't know, I wish we got more of their mom. Like, that really did emotionally tear me, and it was a good kind of a death. She sacrificed herself for her kids. But at the same time, I feel like their mom was complex. You know, she was interesting. And I kind of wish that we got more of her and, you know, to understand her more and her thought process and stuff. I just really wish we'd get more, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Because, like I said, like, in the first book, I actually thought that she would turn out to be super evil. Like, I didn't, like, think that she would actually, like, be on their side. And, like, you were correct, actually. Like, in the first podcast, you said that maybe it's more, like, more complex. So, like, good job on
Thank
that,
you.
because that definitely surprised me. And you're right. Like, it could have been, like, even more in depth. Like, what were the things that she was planning? Like, how was she sabotaging everything or what? Or, like, what kind of sacrifices did she make for her children? Like, definitely would have been interesting to see that expanded.
Yes, exactly. And yes, I'm also happy that I got that right. I kind of had a feeling that she's better than everyone thinks she is. So I'm happy about that. And there's another quote that I like from her. It's actually a note that she wrote to their dad, I think. Most generals dream of dying in service to their kingdom. But you know me better than that, my love. When I fall, it will be for one reason only, to protect our children. And again, I got goosebumps. And, I don't know what it feels like to have kids. I'm not a mom. You're not a mom either. But this is how I imagine being a mom feels like. You would literally do everything for your children. So it was a cute quote, and how she said my love. And now I hope even more that Violet can actually see like spirits and communicate with them, because maybe like that, we can find out more about her mom. She might be gone, but maybe she can still like keep in touch, and maybe we can, understand her better, and she won't be gone entirely. That would be cool.
Well, maybe, yeah. Damn.
Okay, yeah, and after that, of course, we also found out that Xaden turned Venin. He would have died. He had to do something. And yeah, yes. What did you think of that?
Well, honestly, like, I know that I later like found out that people had like very emotional reactions to this scene. Like, they were like devastated. But something tells me from even like earlier on in the book that maybe Venin, especially if you're like level 1 Venin, or like, I don't know how to describe that, like, aren't like totally evil, and it's not like that bad. Like, I don't, like, that's, maybe I'm delusional, but like I kind of feel like my theory is that like somehow it will turn out that it's like it's not that bad as it is. Like, maybe it's impossible to turn back into a human, but it's possible to like not progress further. It's like in the Vampire Diaries, like, there are vampires, but you can still like, just drink like animal blood and basically like not kill anyone and still be like normal.
Exactly.
Almost. So that's kind of where my mind went immediately, so I wasn't even that worried.
Same. I immediately thought of the Vampire Diaries. Cool. But I do kind of imagine the Venin as Strigoi from Vampire Academy. Pale but red, like red cool. eyes and stuff. That's how I imagine them. And Dimitri, when he turned into a Strigoi, like he was super evil, so you can't compare that. But he was super lethal, and that's how I kind of imagine Xaden now. But not evil, just super lethal. But yeah, you know what? Like, when I found out that he was Venin, I was kind of shocked. I didn't see that coming, and I'm disappointed that I didn't. But yeah, like, for a second there, I was like I said, I did imagine them like Vampire Diaries, you can kind of control it. But at the same time, I was like, well, shit, what if they can't? Like, you don't know. And then when you turn the page, you actually see their point of view, that they're like lying in bed together and cuddling. So it seems that he can still pretend that he's normal, just like Jack could. And he still seems like himself. Yes. So I don't know. I also wasn't that worried about it. I just hope that Rebecca doesn't go down the path that he dies. Like, I really hope Xaden doesn't die. I don't like that. I don't like that idea. I hope he kind of... like I said, I like Xaden, so I don't want him to die. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, like, my theory is that we either find out that Venin actually aren't so bad and like aren't that evil, or like it's possible to like control like whatever darkness is in you. Like, either that would be the storyline, that everyone was just like too quick to judge them as evil, or they actually are super evil and it's like impossible to control it. It just like takes over you. But then like we'll somehow find a cure. Definitely sure that this is not just like the end of Xaden's story.
Exactly. I really do hope, that Venin aren't entirely evil. Maybe there's like even a group in the Venin community that kind of rebels or something because they don't want to behave like this and kill people. Like, that would be really interesting to find that out. And maybe like we could get like Xaden's point of view. Like, for example, he goes there because he thinks he belongs there, and then he realizes that it doesn't have to be that way. It would be really cool. And he kind of accepts this part of him now, that he's just different, and like that's okay, right? That would be an interesting storyline. But yeah, like even if he does turn full Strigoi like Dimitri did, you know, Rose ended up saving him. And like, sorry guys, if you haven't read Vampire Academy and I'm spoiling everything right now, but like you'll forget it soon enough. Like it doesn't matter. Just like read Vampire Academy in a year after hearing this and you'll be fine.
Yeah, those books are like more than a decade old.
Yeah.
Like it's not
That's
a spoiler
true.
anymore.
That's true. You can't blame me. You can't blame me, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. So let's move on to some theories that, you know, some of our followers have named on TikTok and Instagram. And let's see.
Sure.
Okay, so Super NXT.12 wrote on Instagram, I quote, "So my theory is that we will find out that Violet's dad is alive and it's a Maven, the highest rank within Venom." Right, we haven't discussed it, that Venom are also ranked. That's because every rank of Venom Violet has encountered seem to know who she is and what her powers are. And if Venom were once riders or flyers, they will still maintain their way of following orders from higher ranks. And if a sage was looking for Violet, it only means a Maven is also looking for her. Why her father? Because in the missive Nolan sends to Lilith, it says they tried their best to find a cure. To Venom, I guess. The important part of the missive is that it was written by Lieutenant Colonel Nolan, which is a lower rank than just Colonel, which Nolan has now. So maybe Violet's dad became Venom and Lilith faked his death. Also explaining the reason for her to put Violet on the Rider's quadrant, not only for her not to find about the Venom, but also not to find the truth about her father. Damn.
Well, damn.
That's an interesting theory.
Yes, I could see that. I mean, it would be so cheesy for me if just everyone in this family is faking their deaths. But also, this is absolutely the kind of thing that writers would do. So, you know, from that point of view, of course it's going to happen. And yeah, I didn't even think about the fact that, like, everyone seems to know
That's
Violet
true.
from the Vanning side. It was just like, of course, like, you don't even question it. Like, of course they know her. She's super special main character with all the powers. And, like, everyone knows her. Duh.
Exactly.
You know?
But, like, I don't know. Maybe they found out because of Jack. Like, he turned Venom in the first book.
True.
Maybe he had the ability to kind of spy on them and let them know this information. Or, I don't know, that Venom, you know, that came into Violet's dreams and communicated with her. I mean, how did he do that? He obviously has some mental abilities. So maybe he can also find that out like that. You know, he can enter people's dreams or subconsciousness and kind of discover their power. Maybe he's drawn to power. Like, you know, maybe they have these abilities. But yeah, of course, it's interesting how they know. Hopefully we get at least one answer. If it's her dad or if it's like just these abilities that the Venom possess.
Yeah, definitely. Because she fought him before, like in the end of book 1. So it would be interesting to find out if it started happening after that fight or if Fanny knew who she was before then. Because, like, obviously if she, like, defeated them all, like, in this fight, that they'll probably, like, go and talk to each other and be like, yeah, this, like, Violet girl, like, kicked her ass. And then, of course, everyone will know her. So, but like, I still don't want to dismiss the theory. It's super interesting.
That's true. But the only thing about the theory that I might disagree with is that Violet's mom knew about it. Just because, I don't know, she died and she literally said, I will be with him now. I don't think she would have said that in her final moments if their dad was actually alive.
Oh, right. Good thinking.
Yeah. I just don't think she would have said that. That's like a pure moment. Like she was saying goodbye. Like either she would have told them that she loves them or just said another thing or told them the truth. I doubt it. But like, you know what I mean? Maybe she just doesn't know. Like that's possible. Yeah.
True. Yeah, I could accept that. But yeah, when you're like dying, that's like the moment to like you're probably like not thinking about like still keeping secrets. Yeah, I don't think she would like keep on lying until the last second.
Definitely. Okay, so thank you for this theory. We love it. It's interesting. It's well thought of. Hey. So we'll see if it happens. Okay, so Kaylee said, I'm also 99% sure that either Tern or Andarna will die at the end of the series. There's no way she is keeping both dragons till the end. That's actually a good point.
Kaylee, Why would
But
you
it's
say
actually
that?
a good point. Like, that's so sad. I don't want that to happen. But like, oh my gosh, like, of course she won't keep both dragons. There's no way.
But
I know. But now a tough question for you, Anya. If you had to choose who lives,
Okay.
would you choose Tern or would you choose Andarna?
Okay. Okay, my like first answer is Andarna. Because she's a kid, she is a baby. Like at least like Terran lived like his whole like life. He's mature. Like he said that this is like the last dragon, right? Oh my gosh, maybe that's a clue.
Oh
like
my
he
God.
said that this is the last time he will take a dragon rider. I even wrote down like how everyone is thinking that when like if something happens to Violet, if she gets like killed in a fight or something, like probably Terran will die. But like I even wrote down like what happens when she dies of old age. You know, like humans die eventually.
Oh.
So like Terran like basically signed up for his death with Violet.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Tern's
Jesus.
dying,
Yeah.
guys. People, it's happening. Like this is for 100%. Yeah. And your thought process was actually my thought process. I thought the same, you know, Tern, at least he lived, you know, he had a full life, and Andarna, she's just beginning her life. So, yeah, but it's still sad.
That would be even sadder. That would
Exactly,
be even more heartbreaking. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, seriously, Kaylee, what are you doing to us? This is not cool. Okay. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this is a juicy one. Listen to this. Ellen Cole. Mine's probably super unpopular, but Dane is going to be the end game, not Xaden. They were enemies to lovers too fast, and the relationship was never really good, you know. But she reconnects with Dane in Iron Flame. I'm speechless.
Okay. You know what? I will be a complete contrarian, but in this book I actually do prefer Dane to Xaden. He's not like redeemed to me at this point, but actually it would be so dramatic for Rebecca to do that.
That would be.
I would kind of be leaving because it'd be so dramatic and it would piss so many people off.
I mean,
it would be entertaining.
I mean, after, you know, I read Fort Wing, I saw this like meme. What if the real enemies to lovers was Dane and Violet? Mm-hmm. And I almost died because, you know, we discussed that the first book really didn't feel like enemies to lovers to us at all. So, you know, I was like, shit, what? And they were being sarcastic. Like, what if it's actually Dane? Because they are enemies, you know? So, yeah, this theory, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, I like Xaden. He's a complex character. But yeah, like their relationship is kind of toxic. That is true. But I mean, I just hope that if Violet does end up with Dane, that it's not because Xaden dies or something. I hope that she just chooses Dane for some reason. And that, you know, he still survives and maybe he moves on or something. I want a happy ending for Xaden too. And I want him to heal, you know. I don't wish him to die.
Definitely, and I only accept that if Dane continues not being an asshole and like keeps redeeming himself more. So, well, we shall see. We shall see. I don't know.
Okay, and then there's another one about Violet's dad. This is Christina Miller, 11. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your surname. So Violet's dad did not die of natural causes. His research caused his death. Her mom suspected it. That's why she did what she did to protect Violet. I mean, this is a logical explanation.
Well,
I mean,
like dying from a broken heart is like
I mean,
really
that's a very like kind of. I mean, it's possible like that you like, for example, if you're really stressed and if you're really sad about something, that you know you kind of get a stroke. You know, that's your heart just like, you know, it dies off. I don't know. It's possible, but. This makes sense because he did research stuff about the golden dragons, you know, and Andarna as a baby. I think he was doing research about that. Yes. I didn't really get into it that much, but of course that they would have killed him off. If anyone found this out, of course they would do something.
Yeah. He definitely knew shit.
Yeah, this theory,
He knew about Vanine, River, and everything. Yeah. And he was leaving hints to Violet about it. Like, he wrote that letter. Obviously, like, the powers don't want...
But it's so interesting that he was leaving Violet these letters. And her mom, she also knew about, Benin and everything, and yet they were still in love. They still seem happy. She said, I'll see him again. But they must have disagreed about this. If he was leaving her letters and clues, it means that he was not in agreement with her mom about keeping this a secret. So that's interesting.
Fuck. Definitely. Like, that's why you're right that we should have gotten more perspective from the mom as well. Because, yeah, like at this point, like, I wish that Rebecca is going somewhere with this. Because, like, right now it does seem a bit nonsensical. Like, they're both on the same side, but both, like, not talking about it. And how? Weird.
I completely agree. Okay, yeah, so that's it for the theories that we're gonna emphasize. Thanks, guys, for sending these in. They're amazing. I love it. And yeah, do you have anything more to add about this?
I think that's all. I think we did a podcast.
I just want to add another thing about her mom. Like, she made a good point when I think Violet told her something in the sense, but you think, the scribes are worse than dragon riders, like, you're better and stuff. And she's like, why the fuck would I ever think that if the love of my life was a scribe? And that's something, that I thought in the first book. That's why I thought that her mom isn't like that. Because, like, why would she ever, like, stoop to that level, and marry a scribe who's, like, supposedly so worse than her, like, much less than her. It just didn't make sense. So I'm really glad that she kind of pointed that out, and I'm disappointed that Violet didn't, like, think like that either, but okay, it's fine. But yeah, I'm sad about her mom. But what can we do? Nothing. It's Rebecca's fault. So
Rebecca's at fault for a lot of things. I think it's what we decided.
And I just want to conclude this episode with one statement. It's not one statement, but so. So when in the last page or whatever, Xaden, he visited Jack in his cell, and Jack was like something in the sense, I guess we're brothers now. And I love that, actually. That's like, I think that's the one statement from Jack that I actually adored. I was like, yes, oh my gosh, you are like such a malfunctioned, sad family. Fuck me.
Oh my god.
Yeah, they're brothers. Bros over hoes. Shit. What if, like, Xaden ends up choosing Jack over Violet, and he's like, no, I want to be with Jack. No, okay, I'm delusional now. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just tired. I'm tired.
Evil guys stay together.
Oh my god. Yeah. Okay, so thanks everyone for listening. I hope you liked this episode. We were a little less prepared than usual, but I enjoyed our conversation a lot. Hopefully you did too.
Yeah. We managed to still talk for like 2 hours, so I think we were prepared. Oh my gosh,
that's so true. Like, we actually, I feel like as soon as we started talking, I just remembered shit, so it just came to me. So that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, so please follow us on Instagram and on TikTok, More Than Fiction Pod. Subscribe wherever you're listening. And also, if you can, we would really appreciate if you rated us, like 5 stars, of course. If you don't like us, just please don't, okay? But yeah.
Cool. And on Spotify we'll probably like leave a little question or something, and we want to hear from you. Maybe if you have anything about the next book or anything about our opinions that you would like to share, please go ahead and do it on Spotify or on our Instagram. We will of course appreciate it.
And if not on Spotify, because I know that sometimes I really miss those like little questionnaires. I don't even see them, so like at least on Instagram or somewhere we can talk. Okay, anyways, thanks for listening again, and see you next time, I guess. Bye!
Oh yeah, see ya!